Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you guys are doing okay and I hope that you're fine. Today, our lesson will be phrases and clauses. First, you have to log in using the aplusstudent.com and you click on language chat. You move on to grade 8. The chapter is phrases and clauses, and the lesson is it a phrase or clause? Identify prepositional phrases set 1, identify prepositional phrases set 2. All right, so a clause is a group of words that contains both a subject and a predicate. So it contains subjects, predicates for the clauses. A clause can function as a complete sentence or combine with other clauses to form compound or complex sentences. Samantha grew up in a bilingual family, so she can speak two languages fluently. Now, the clause has a subject she and a predicate can speak two languages frequently. Okay, so we have the Hall of Records, which is found behind Mount Rushmore, contains copies of historical United States documents. Now, the clause has a subject, which, and a predicate is found behind the Mount Rushmore. Now, you have to take note that the clause has a subject and a verb. All right, so that's the predicate, subject and predicate. A clause can function as a complete sentence, or you can combine it with other clauses to form compound or complex sentences. Now, for the phrases, now, a phrase is any group of words that function together in a sentence but lack a subject, a predicate, or both. Now, the phrase is a group of words that function together in a sentence, but they are usually lacking a subject, predicate, or both of them in the sentence. It's like saying we washed the dishes in the sink after dinner. Now, the phrase does not contain a subject. All right. The new physician at the hospital has better working long hours. Has been working long hours. Now, the phrase here does not contain a predicate. Robert and Emily took detailed notes during the lecture on microbiology. The phrase contains neither subject nor of a predicate. So you should take notes that the phrase will not contain either a subject, a predicate, or either both of them. Okay? But the clause contains subject and a predicate. So if you see the one containing subject and predicate, that is a clause. But if it doesn't contain, then it is a predicate. All right, so we have some sentences here that we should look at. Alright, so is the group of word in bold a phrase or clause? Among bats, there are species that can reach speeds of more than 50 miles per hour. So now, more than 50 miles per hour is a phrase. It does not have both a subject and a predicate. Alright, so we also have Mickey's suitcase was too large to fit in the overhead bin, so unfortunately, she had to check it. Alright, so that'll be what? A clause because it has a subject which is the Mickey's suitcase and a predicate was to latch. All right. So we have cockroaches breathe through holes in their bodies called spiracles. This fact helps explain how they can survive for weeks without a head. All right, so now this is a clause because it has a subject, which is the cockroach, and then the predicates breathe through holes in their bodies. Okay, so we'll move on to the test now. All right, so is the group of words in bold a phrase or clause? So we have inspirational leader Mohandas Gadhil, commonly known as Mahatma Gadhil, directed India's fight for independence against British rule. So now, is this a phrase or is this a clause? What do you think? So now, if we say that this is a clause, it is wrong because it what? It doesn't have a subject and a predicate, okay? So there's no subject or predicates to this. So, is the group of word in both a phrase or clause? Humans are classified as omnivorous because they generally consume both plants and animals, although some people are vegetarians or vegans. All right, so is this a phrase or a clause? So now, if you say that this is a phrase, it will be wrong. It is a clause. So I want you guys to take note of this, okay? Because this has what? A subject and a predicate. All right? Okay. Haley has all the qualification listed for the accountant position at the tax firm. Okay, so at the tax firm, is this a phrase or clause? All right, so this is a phrase. Okay. So, by refusing to surrender her seat to a white passenger, African American activist Rosa Parks inspired a boycott of city buses in Montgomery, all Alabama, and helped strengthen the civil rights movement. So, is this a phrase or clause? All right, so although glaciers occupy only about 10% of the Earth's land surface, they contain about 75% of its fresh water. So is it a phrase or a clause? So this is a clause. The appliance stores policies allows return for 30 days. However, refunds require receipt. So is this a phrase or a clause? All right, so this is a phrase. It has no subject or predicate. Okay. All right, so that's it for our lesson under is it a phrase or clause. You have to note that the clauses have the subject and the predicate, while the phrase has no subject. Sometimes it could have no subject, no predicates, or even both of them. So you could either have a subject and no predicate, or predicate and no subject. Well, sometimes it could have none of the above. Okay, so let's move on to the next, which is identify prepositional phrases, set one. All right, so what's a preposition? A preposition comes before a noun or pronoun, called the object of preposition, and connects it to the rest of the sentence. A prepositional phrase is a phrase that begins with a preposition, ends with the object of the preposition, and includes all of the object modifiers in between. So you have to take note that the prepositional phrase begins with a preposition, ends with object of preposition, and also includes all the object modifiers in between the sentence. Okay, so steam rose steadily from the enormous geyser. Now, the preposition from connects the object geyser to the rest of the sentence. Now, Jonah's article about Alaskan oil drilling was incredibly well written. The preposition about connects the object oil drilling to the rest of the sentence. All right? Remember that prepositions includes remember that preposition introduces noun, pronouns, or noun phrases. Okay? So they do not introduce infinitives. All right? They do not introduce infinitive phrases or adverbial clauses. All right, so we have some example. After the show, the dancers greeted their fans. Here, after the preposition, it connects the object show to the rest of the sentence. Now, after the show ended, the dancers greeted their fans. Now, here, after is a conjunction, it introduces an adverbial clause. Now, we have some common prepositions here. These are all the common prepositions that you need to take note of: above, across, and the rest of them. So you have to make sure that you take note of the common prepositions that we have. Some prepositions like according to, across from, along with, in front of, in spite of, instead of, and far from consist of more than one word. So we have some prepositions that consist of two words, just like along with, instead of. Okay, so all these are prepositions that consist of two words, not only one. The one that consists of one word could be against, it could be around, between. Okay, if it's consisting of one. All right, let's look at some examples. So you have to select two prepositional phrases from here. We have Brian Berg, who has a design degree from Harvard University. A Kat Starker. Berg travels the world making large complex structures strictly from playing card. No glue, tapes, or streak involved. So, what is the prepositional phrase here? We have Harvard University and from playing cards. So we have, before you click send, reread all emails for spelling and grammatical errors and make sure your thoughts are stated clearly. So here you would have to select a preposition or phrase and it will be like for spelling and grammatical errors. Okay? Many people presume that Kansas is the flattest state in the nation, but Florida is actually flatter. What's the prepositional phrase in the nation? So we will move on to the test. Hi, Brad, how are you? So select the one prepositional phrase. In this introductory harmonical class, you'll learn useful breathing techniques. Previous experience is not required. So what is the prepositional phrase here? So, breathing techniques. If you click on breathing techniques, it is wrong. In this introductory harmonical class is the right prepositional phrase. Okay, so you have to take notes and be careful. So many people presume that Kansas is the flattest state in the nation, but Florida is actually flatter. So what is the prepositional phrase here? So we have in the nation. Before you click send, reread all emails for spelling and grammatical errors and make sure your thoughts are stated clearly. So, what is the prepositional phrase here? You can think and tell me. So, we have for spelling and grammatical errors. Brian Beck, who has a design degree from Harvard University, is a card stalker. Beck travels the world making large, complex structures strictly from playing cards, no glue, tape, or tricks involved. So what's the prepositional phrase here? All right, so which one? So Harvard University and playing cards. The benefits arising from physical activity include a reduced risk of heart disease and improved mental health. So what is the prepositional phrase here? All right, so we have physical activities and heart disease. So this is basically us reminding ourselves about the prepositional phrase. We know that preposition comes before a noun or pronoun, and a prepositional phrase is a phrase that begins with preposition, ends with the object of preposition, and include all of the object modifiers in between. All right, so we'll move on to our test. All right, so we have many people presume that Kansas is the flattest state in the nation, but Florida is actually flatter. So, what is the prepositional phrase here? So, we have in the nation. All right. Okay, so next, if we have via the Los Muertos, the Day of the Dead is a holiday that is celebrated wildly across Latin America. So, what's the prepositional phrase here? All right, so we have, if we say Latin America and holiday, it's incorrect. But if we say the dead and across Latin America, that's where we have the preposition in between and all the modifiers. Okay? Alright, so Sharona's thoughtful first person essay about her maternal grandparent deserves an honorable mention in the personal narrative competition. So, what's the two prepositional phrase here? All right, so if we say first person and maternal grandparents, we haven't picked up the correct prepositional phrases. So it has to be maternal grandparents and in the personal narrative competition. Okay? All right, so before Louisiana, May Alcott published Little Women, which would launch her into literary history. She published several works using the pseudonym Flora Fairfield and A.M. Barnard. So, what is the prepositional phrase here? All right, so the answer was the second one. All right, so that's it for our lesson today. Can you please tell me if you have any questions and I will explain to you? All right, so since we have no questions, we'll end here for today. I hope that you all have a good night and see you all on Thursday. Bye, everyone.